How to fix image distortion when moving mouse. Welcome back to Teknobalta. If you are experiencing severe visual degradation or blurring in games like Red Dead Redemption 2, whenever you move your camera, you are dealing with a known rendering conflict. At Teknobalta, we analyzed this specific visual artifact where static scenes look perfect, but motion causes immediate pixelation. Our team found that this is rarely a hardware failure, but rather a clash between anti-aliasing techniques and dynamic resolution scaling. We verified several precise configuration changes that will permanently eliminate this problem. Our first and most critical fix involves adjusting the temporal anti-aliasing, or TA, quality within your game settings. We confirmed that simply changing the TAA quality from medium to high completely resolves the movement distortion in most cases. This forces the game engine to allocate more resources to edge smoothing during camera pans, preventing the pixel matrix from breaking apart. Next, you must strictly control the TAA sharpening slider in your graphics menu. We determined that you should set TAA sharpening between 30 and 50% for optimal stability. If you push this slider all the way to the maximum, every texture will severely distort the moment you shake or move your mouse. The third crucial step is to audit your resolution scale settings. You need to either completely disable the resolution scale option or ensure it is locked exactly at 1.0. Our team noticed that setting this even slightly below 1.0 triggers aggressive upscaling algorithms that cause massive screen distortion during movement. If you are using an AMD graphics card, you must immediately open your AMD Adrenalin software and disable the Radeon Boost feature. Radeon Boost is specifically designed to drastically lower your rendering resolution whenever you move your mouse to increase performance. We found that this aggressive dynamic scaling is the primary culprit behind the localized blurring effect. You should also completely disable AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution, or FSR, if you are relying on native rendering. Even when FSR is supposedly turned off, residual upscaling conflicts can occur if other dynamic resolution settings remain active in the background. We recommend turning off all automated frame rate boosting features in your GPU control panel to isolate the issue. Motion blur is another post-processing effect that severely exacerbates this specific distortion. Navigate to your in-game graphics menu and completely turn off the motion blur toggle. This ensures that the engine is not artificially smearing pixels across the screen while you are simultaneously dealing with TAA ghosting issues. We also recommend switching the primary graphics API from Vulkan to DirectX 12 or vice versa, depending on your system architecture. The way different APIs handle temporal data frame generation can drastically alter how mouse movement affects visual clarity. Restart the game after changing the API to allow the engine to recompile its rendering pipeline properly. High mouse polling rates can sometimes overwhelm the game engine's camera interpolation logic, causing micro-stutters that look like visual distortion. Open your mouse configuration software and lower the polling rate from 1000 Hz to 500 Hz. This provides a smoother data stream to the game, reducing the erratic rendering spikes during quick camera flicks. Disabling Fullscreen Optimizations in Windows is a powerful technique for resolving unexpected rendering behavior. Right-click the game's executable file, open the Properties menu, navigate to the Compatibility tab, and check the box to disable Fullscreen Optimizations. This forces the operating system to hand over exclusive display control to the game engine, bypassing broken Windows scaling features. You must also ensure that your monitor's overdrive setting is not causing inverse ghosting, which mimics this exact distortion. Open your physical monitor's on-screen display menu and reduce the response time overdrive from extreme to normal. Over-aggressively driving the liquid crystals causes trailing artifacts that are especially visible during rapid mouse movements. Our team highly recommends performing a completely clean installation of your graphics drivers using the Display Driver Uninstaller utility. Corrupted driver caches often hold onto outdated shading instructions that conflict with modern TAA implementations. Boot into safe mode, wipe the existing drivers completely, and install the latest stable release fresh. It is vital to clear the game's local shader cache files manually. Navigate to your Documents folder, find the game's settings directory, and delete all files with the SGA extension. The game will rebuild these shaders from scratch upon the next launch, effectively eliminating any corrupted texture maps that trigger during motion. We found that enabling VSync alongside triple buffering can stabilize frame pacing and reduce camera-induced artifacting. Force both of these settings on through the NVIDIA Control Panel or AMD Adrenalin software rather than relying on the in-game toggles. This creates a much more rigid frame delivery pipeline that prevents the temporal anti-aliasing from dropping data. Always verify that Windows Game Mode is toggled off if you are experiencing severe rendering bugs. While Microsoft intends for Game Mode to allocate resources efficiently, it frequently throttles background rendering tasks that are essential for smooth camera interpolation. Open your Windows settings, search for Game Mode, and disable the switch entirely. Disabling hardware acceleration in background applications like Discord or web browsers is another necessary troubleshooting step. These programs can siphon RAM bandwidth away from your primary game, starving the anti-aliasing algorithms during resource-heavy camera sweeps. Turn this off in your application settings to free up maximum graphical processing power. You should delete the main XML configuration file located in the game's Documents folder to force a complete settings reset. Sometimes, hidden variables that cannot be accessed through the in-game menu become corrupted and cause persistent motion artifacting. Deleting this file forces the engine to generate a pristine configuration state on the next boot. Switching your mouse input method to raw input can also drastically improve camera smoothness and reduce visual tearing. If the game is processing mouse data through Windows cursor acceleration, the resulting camera movement can be erratic and difficult for the TAA algorithm to track. Raw input ensures a one-to-one data transfer from your hardware directly to the game engine. Check your Anisotropic filtering settings in your GPU control panel and set it to application controlled. Forcing a global 16x filtering override can conflict with the game's internal temporal rendering, causing distant textures like grass and trees to shimmer aggressively when moving. Let the game engine manage its own texture filtering for the best stability. Finally, ensure your Windows power plan is set to ultimate performance to guarantee your GPU receives maximum voltage during load spikes. Sudden camera movements require rapid bursts of rendering power, and restrictive power plans can cause micro-throttling that results in temporary visual degradation. Maximizing your power delivery ensures the anti-aliasing process never starves for computational resources. Don't forget to follow Teknobalta for more.